Hi, this is Kevin McCluskey of the River Drivers, and you're listening to The Sideshow on listener-powered WRFR 93.3 FM Rockland, 99.3 FM Camden, and streaming everywhere else at WRFR.org.
We're back. We're joined via telephone with the members of, or two of the members of the River Drivers. You can get more information about them at their wonderful website, theriverdrivers.com. We'll be chatting about this epic record, Big Oak Road. I'm joined via telephone with Mindy Murray and Brian McCloskey. Welcome to WRFR and this segment of The Sideshow on the weekly program on community radio station WRFR 93.3 in Rockland and 99.3 in Camden and the rest of the free-thinking world on WRFR.org. Welcome, and let's hang and chat about this disc.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us.
We really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, the record came to me in the one of the traditional ways. It sort of came electronically, which I'm still having a hard time getting my head around, but that's the way stuff works. And interesting note from your publicist and everything about it just said, okay, let's just have a click. And I was so glad that opportunity and preparation and serendipity and all that kind of stuff just collided with this record, Big Oak Road. The album, I think, is fantastic, and I think that is one of the reasons why I'm happy we're speaking this today on the phone, because the record, for me, encompasses so many different things that make up the whole. So the sum of the parts are as important and significant and just embolden and build on the sum and make it that much bigger. But there's influences of Celtic music, of Appalachian music, of folk music. There are there's political commentary, there's social commentary. Let's start by talking about that, maybe where some of these influences came from, and then as we wrap that up, we'll talk about the four band members and your connections to one another. So let's start talking about the record, about how it came together for the four of you, and let's just employ some basic civility, ladies before gentlemen. So Mindy, give us some thoughts.
Sure. Hi. This record has been like a labor of love. It's been it took a while for us to work through what songs we wanted to do and how the tone and the message. So this is our second record, and the first one we went into with a little more we were a little more naive at that point, and it was I should say this, but it was still a good record. It was a good record, and we wanted to do maybe a little bit more with this record. We wanted to to incorporate some of our feelings, some of our feelings about society in general and about politics in general, and just. We wanted our music to do more than just entertain. We really were hoping that, it would serve some maybe higher purpose or, not to, to make it sound like it's an earth-shattering piece, but we were just hoping that we could get above just the entertainment value of music. So this is what became of that. I guess it took about a year, right, Kevin, to really formulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least 7 years later. No, but it's so. I mean that's kind of how the concept of Big Oak Road came. I think very early on, Big Oak Road was one of the first songs that we wrote for it, and very early on, I remember Kevin saying, we've got a name in this record, Big Oak Road. And I'm not sure why he said that, but it kind of stuck through the whole, recording and mixing and mastering, and it's like, so it was kind of a theme, Do you remember that, Kevin? Do you remember why you thought that would be a good...
Honestly, it just sounded like an album.
Yeah, we thought the cover would be easy, right?
The cover would be easy. I think the content or the lyrics of the song too. It's the song Big Oak Road that Mindy wrote, about her father's life in nearby us on a farm in Bucks County. It tells a great story of like from a young age into teenage years, right? And I just thought, that'd be great. Really, like Mindy said, really set the tone for the rest of the album, I think, and the types of songs and stories we wanted to tell with it.
Well, there's a real simplicity, obviously, to the album cover, but for me, that's where the simplicity of any of this stuff stops. The music is immediately engaging. The lyrics are very powerful and well worth a good, solid, sincere listen. And it's one of the wonderful things about community radio, being able to share a record in its entirety. You've generously allowed us to do so in accordance with the Millennial Act, and we appreciate that. But it's the way to, I think, really to listen to a record, to hear it through and through, and get an appreciation for what is happening in the record. And again, I absolutely dig it, and you can really feel the raw emotion in Going Once, or as you said, Big Oak Road, or some of the other songs on the first half of the record. We'll divide the 10-song CD into two pieces. We'll do tracks 1 through 5 tonight, and next week we'll do 6 through 10, making up the conclusion. But I'd like, if we could, to talk a little bit about how you guys got together. What's the background of the band? There's some family friendships and all kinds of hooky-doo and past relations working together.
Do you want me to take this, Kevin, or do you want to take it?
Yeah, of course. Good.
Okay. Our families have always known each other, growing up, and way back when, like in the 70s, one of our local churches used to have folk masses, and I actually played at the folk masses, and that's like back in the high school years, and so Kevin's family is extremely musical. I mean, his dad's like a great singer, and his aunts are all like, they one of them teaches music at the grade school. No, well, the aunt that Kathy that teaches music at the grade school came up to me and said, they're doing like, I don't remember what year it was, but say it was like the 35th anniversary of no, it was the actual parish, so 150th anniversary of the parish or whatever. And she said, we want to do a folk mass. Do you think you could, kind of resurrect some of that music? And I'm thinking, oh, great. I haven't played that in many years. And she said, my nephew, he's really great, and he'll help you with this, And so I said, okay, we'll do that. And that was actually the first time that Kevin and I played together.
Okay.
And I think, and it was like this organic, like, get together in the living room and try to figure out this music, and we realized that we had a lot of musical taste in common. There was a lot, like a Venn diagram. There was a lot in the middle. There was a whole lot on the outside as well. That we could bring to the table, and it just kind of like evolved from that. Like Megan was here, my daughter, and she picked up the fiddle, and I remember Kevin saying, like, how did I not know that she played, Irish music on the fiddle, and then I was talking to my very good friend Marion, and it's like, Mar, the three of us are gonna, just be playing around, in the living room. You want to come over, and so she brought her instruments, and that's really how it got started. And it was very, Kevin had been playing, well, okay, back up a little bit. Megan and I had been in a band together, like just the two of us, a duo, Port Murray, and Kevin had been in a lot of bands, both with his dad, had played with his dad. I guess I wouldn't call that a band. I'll let him handle that part, and a punk music band, so that all kind of came together, in this band, and so pretty much we were off and running once we had a few sessions in the living room here. Kevin already had a gig scheduled for St. Patty's Day. Say this is in February, and he already had like this gig for St. Patty's Day, and we went and backed him up, and and actually formed the band within that month, and have been really playing ever since. Is that a good rendition of the history of the band, Kevin?
Yeah, I think
okay.
so. I mean, we had the sessions go. I also know, like, we had sessions going at a local restaurant where we would just get together every Tuesday, and at one point somebody was like, "Can you do this, but like here?" I think it was the library in town. They wanted to do a music night, and they were like, "Can you just do this, but here?" So then I think that's when we were like, I guess we need like a band name now, and
right.
yeah, it did all just happen very, very organically. Just it came really just like out of just having fun, getting together every week, and so I think that's why it's worked for us for so long.
Well, it's a great story. Let's do this. Let's drop in the first half of this great record, Big Oak Road. I'm going to do my best with the titles of the songs. The ones in English are pretty straightforward. That's simple enough. But we're going to share it together. Children's March, Mother Jones. Going Once, Crooked Jack. I think it's pronounced Si Se Puede. And then the fifth track, Isn't It Grand Boys, Look at the Coffin. And feel free to correct my pronunciation, if you please, on the fourth track, Kevin.
No, that's fine. You did wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. We'll be right back with the members, or two of the members, of the River Drivers right here on WRFR. We're back. We're joined by a telephone on WRFR. Welcoming back Mindy Murray and Brian McCluskey, two of the four members of the band, the River Drivers. I think fantastic up-and-coming band celebrating their second record, Big Oak Road. Welcome back. Can we talk a little bit about how you came up with the name of the band, the River Drivers? What is the significance of that, and what's the back end the story on it?
Sure. Early on, from just about the beginning, we have always played a lot of songs about hard-working men and women, and how treated by society, and how they've overcome obstacles and all that, and so we're kicking around a lot of names and old songbooks and all to see what songs were and things like that, and came across this song, the River Drivers, and it's like, geez, like that kind of embodies exactly what that we're singing about, that we hope to bring bring out of the darkness, kind of, and because they were hard workers, never really made a lot of money for themselves, but they had a lot of intestinal fortitude, or however you want to look at it, and it was like, and well, I guess the other part too is like we're all pretty much centered in Bucks County and in Bristol on the Delaware River, and the river's always been a huge part of the identity of the area that we live in, and to a certain extent of all of our own lives, has always involved a river as well. So it kind of fit. And
yeah.
So the River Drivers then were sort of essential personnel on the river, the people that drove the vessels that brought people back and forth or up and down, freight, commerce, whatever.
No, they're actually men that go out and break up log jams. Like it's not entirely what we have down here, because we don't do logging on this river.
Mm-hmm.
But the River Drivers were actually the guys who stood on the logs and drove them into the big factories and the sawmills and the log.
Okay.
And they led a pretty dangerous life. They would have to get out there where where I wouldn't want to be, and be breaking up the log jams and running with the logs. So it's a little different. You could take it in any context. I mean, it does not have to be exactly what the historical name meant. To us, it does hold other meanings, river, driving music, the river, whatever, Well,
let's talk a little bit then about the daily struggles of some of the people in the songs. Going Once, for example, the sale and the unwanted sale of a family farm, and what that meant to the family, as well as what it meant to the children of the family. The song is very well crafted and very powerful. And it doesn't take but a half a listen to get what's going on. Where did that come from you guys? How was it based on personal history, experience, stories.
Right. Yeah. I wrote that actually about my dad's parents losing their farm. They in 1929 they had he was the youngest of 10 kids, so he actually wasn't. He was the one that wasn't born yet when the farm was put up for auction. But the farm was in an area of Tarsdale, which is actually now like very, very built up. It's right on the outskirts of Philadelphia. Now it's very citified and all, but at the time it was farmland, and they had bought this farm, and they really tried to make a go of it, and because of the economy and because of just how circumstances arose, they ended up having to sell the farm, and my dad is my oral historian source. Like he has given me a whole lot of history of the area and of the family and all, and which is how a couple of the songs on this record have come to pass. But yeah, Going Once was a song that it just seems like everybody can associate with, and when we perform it, it's one that people like just can really wrap their heads around, as far as I get this, and it's similar in a lot of feeling to what's going on in the world even today. So I think it transcends the time of the pre-Depression era, and it just really holds meaning for people now. So that's where that all came from.
Well, it's a powerful record, and one, again, that I've enjoyed listening to, and thank you so much for sharing the first half. We'll be back next week with Brian McCluskey and Mindy Murray, two of the members of the River Drivers, talking about this great new record, Big Oak Road. We'll be back next week. Thanks so much. We're back. We're joined this week once again with Kevin McCluskey. And last week, I apologize. I said Brian McCluskey. Maybe that's a brother. Maybe that's an aberration. Maybe your middle name. I don't know. I'm sorry. But your name is indeed Kevin McCluskey, as well as Mindy Murray, two of the four members of the great band, the River Drivers. We're talking about this wonderful record, Big Oak Road. Welcome back. And thanks so much for taking both some time as well as sharing this record with us. We needed your permission to do so, and we're grateful for it in accordance with the Millennial Act. So we'll be spinning up the second half of this record. And again, I still have a difficult time wrapping my head around the concept of something from whom you didn't ask was given to you electronically, but it's music that could be spun in its entirety as one would have done with a record 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and now currently back again with new vinyl, which is always exciting. But I'm grateful for your time and the permission, so welcome back. And let's do this. Let's talk a little bit more about the second half of the record. But I'm going to start off with probably the last thing that anybody wants to hear at this point. You've just written a second record, and one can say you had a whole lifetime to make the first record, and then made the second one over the course of a year, and now promoting it. But what's on the horizon for the band? Where do you see the future of it, and what's the next musical project that you have in mind? Or do you, for that matter? I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, the band is kind of unique in that, but we all, we have our day jobs, and we try to make both of the parts of our life very meaningful. We do tend to gravitate more towards playing the festival scene. We've done the Philly Folk Festival, we've done the New Jersey Folk Festival. Those are the kind of things that we're hoping to, get an audience
sure
to be able to hear our music and things. I think recording more is on the horizon, because we have circulating in the air there that we've already started working on.
Definitely playing and promoting this record is what we'll be doing for the next several months, I'd say. We've already been playing some shows, had our record release show a few weeks back, and then just played at Albert Hall down in New Jersey. And we have a show later this month. It's our second of our kind of record release show dates, and that'll be the Philly Folk Song Society, right?
Mm-hmm. Right,
and,
in Roxborough, right.
In Roxborough. So promoting the record a lot, and then myself, I play solo quite a bit, and with some other musicians here and there, and then a lot of us really have fun just playing at sessions, and so we're always doing something with our music. But yeah, we'll be definitely focused on promoting this record for a while, and then I think we have some songs we can finish up that we tried to get on this record, but maybe we'll have some singles or possibly another record sometime soon. So, but we have fun doing it. So there's plenty of playing in the future.
Well, you lean on a lot of traditional songs as well in your interpretations thereof, as well as writing original music, and it's a very nice balance. Do you foresee the next record being a similar format where you will interpret some stage traditional songs as well as your own, or will you lean more towards original music?
Yeah, our first record was, I think, only had maybe one or two originals on it, and this record was a big step up where I think at least half or a majority of them were originals written by Mindy, and which I love. I think the songs that she's written have really, like, a lot of people I think can listen to, and people have said like, oh, like you would think that this is an old traditional song, or I love that. So I think the more we can do original stuff. I personally don't write a ton of songs, so I like finding songs that maybe people aren't doing as much, and they tend to be in that Irish Celtic kind of world, maybe because that's what I grew up with. Like listening to a song and finding a way to interpret it is really fun for me. So I think we found a pretty good balance on this record, and I think continuing that would definitely be something that we're probably going to end up doing again. But Mindy's very prolific writer. Yes, and she. So I think well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. She's got a lot to offer, so I'm looking forward to see what we do with the next one.
Cool. Let's do this. Let's spin the second half of the record. We'll be spinning tracks 6 through 10. Big Oak Road, the title track. Kuman Maban, forget it. Seventh track.
That was good. That was very good.
Moonshiner, Union Man, Farewell Johnny Miner. We'll be right back with the River Drivers. Kevin McCloskey and Mindy Murray on WRFR.
Hi, this is Mindy Murray of the River Drivers, and you're listening to The Sideshow on listener-powered WRFR, 93.3 FM Rockland, 99.3 FM Camden, and streaming the globe at WRFR.org.
Hey, we're back. We've just enjoyed this wonderful record, the second half of Big Oak Road, and while all conversations do end at some point, it's time to say farewell. It's been my pleasure to share this record, Big Oak Road, from the band The River Drivers, and joined via telephone with Kevin McCloskey and Mindy Murray. Thanks so much for taking some time, and I wish you just the most wonderful success with this album and the upcoming projects and touring out, and hoping that people will write their local venue and call their friends and say, hey man, you got to listen to this record and you got to get these people up here and we want to see them play. And sometimes that's all it takes. So thank you so much, Kevin, Mindy, for taking some time, and again, my best wishes and thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been really a lot of fun, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, until next time, cheers.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers. Take care.